We welcome you to another episode of McKinney ISD Sports Talk. I'm Ted Emrich. State championships are to be cherished. They don't come around often in any sport, and when it's the first in a program's history, well then it's that much more special. And that's the story written by McKinney North's Jordan Hart, who won the Class 4A State Tennis Championship, and that wasn't the only trophy the Bulldogs won this season. Coach John Stein will be with us to recap a remarkable year. Boyd enjoyed another remarkable year under Coach Kristen Crawford. The Broncos sent 2 players to the state tournament after sweeping its district, and McKinney High is on the rise under Jennifer Dixon. She'll stop by not only to look back, but to look forward to the bright future the Lions have. Also coming up, the Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week. Next on Sports Talk. McKinney is building toward the future under Coach Jennifer Dixon, who joins us now. And Jennifer, you have several underclassmen on this team. What are you going to remember most about this season?
Just, the effort that these kids have put forward. You know, they've gone out there day in and day out and given 100%. You know, I throw them on the court, and I know that they're going to give me 100% every time that they go out there. You know, you're not going to have those kids that go out there and just when they're losing, they just give up and throw in the towel. You're never going to see that from this team. I mean, they're going to go out there. We're going to be, you know, third set. They're just giving everything they have, and it's great to see. And it really makes me feel proud as a coach.
Jennifer, the rebuilding phase for your program has been going on the last few years. You feel like you're on the verge of breakout performances. Was there a moment this season you felt like, if we can do more of this, that breakout's going to happen?
Well, you know, you see it building throughout the year. You know, every time they play a match, you're going to see that improvement. And just every match, they just got better, more mentally tough, stronger, you know, with their actual skills playing. You know, just going out there on the court and playing, you see it every match. And then, obviously, it culminated at the district tournament. I mean, you could see the improvement from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I mean, great strides. I mean, kids that, I mean, in the beginning of the year, you kind of question some of their decisions in match play. Completely changed by the time they got to the district tournament. It's exciting because, you know, going into this next year, it's going to be fun to see how those kids, after they work all summer long, how that improvement when they come back, what they're ready to do in the fall.
That improvement was quite evident with Laura Foister, the junior in girls singles, advancing to the semifinals at the district tournament.
Right.
What did you like about Laura this year?
Laura, I mean, she's a great kid. I mean, she takes care of things in the classroom. She's always going to be at practice, dressed out, working hard. I never have to ask her, hey, Laura, you know, pick it up. She's always going to work hard. And, you know, just seeing her play and just, like I said, that same thing I was talking about before, the decisions. You know, before the kids, she would go out there and she'd just hit and hit and hit and hit and wouldn't think about setting up points. And you could see her strategizing and setting up points, throwing in drop shots, keeping the ball deep in the court. You know, it's exciting to see because you can see that now she's growing as a player. And I'm just excited to see what she can do now.
Yeah, she's going to be a senior next year, just like Nick Ashburn on the boys' side. He went to the second round there at the district tournament. Nick's really been your rock all year long, going back to the fall team tennis season, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, like I've told you before, you know, he was our athlete of the week. I mean, just he's a great kid. I mean, working hard. He's outside of tennis, you know, at school. He's working at lessons. He's in the USTA tournaments. You know, he's champing up. I mean, he's just everything you can ask. He's doing everything he needs to do. He's putting in the work to be that player that, you know, he wants to be and that obviously I'd like to see him be.
In boys doubles, Leo Barrera, a senior, and Nick Shaver go to the semifinals there at the district tournament. What about that pair really struck you this season?
You know, it's in doubles, you never really know how it's going to work out, you know, especially if it's a new team together. You know, we put these guys together and they just gelled. You know, they just worked. They're both, their personalities were really complementary of each other. It was just great to see, you know, Leo with his leadership, you know, being the senior, you know, being our captain last year. I mean, he's that kind of kid that wants to be a leader. And then Nick, you know, he just kind of tucked underneath Leo's wing, and they carried it where they needed to, and they went to the semis and played great in the semis too.
Jennifer, only 3 seniors on this team, but I know you're going to miss every one of them. Leo Barrera, Austin Robinson, and Thomas Clark. How do they leave an imprint on this program?
Well, I mean, anytime you have a kid, in the program, they're going to leave, some type of legacy. I mean, they are. I mean, they're always going to be in my heart as well as, in the hearts of their teammates. You have, Thomas Clark, who's been working hard ever since he was a freshman. I mean, improving every time. Kids love him. He's a great guy. You have Leo, of course, like I told you, he's just a leader, flat out just a leader, and he's a great guy. I mean, he's just working hard, and, he's going on to college and just going to do great things. And, I mean, you can't ask any more. Then you go to Austin Robinson. I mean, anybody that knows Austin, he'll run through a brick wall for you. I mean, he's one of those guys that just, no matter what you ask him to do, he's going to do it 100%. You ask him to go get a water jug. I mean, he's not just going, he's running. I mean, he's running to get it. At the end of the day, he's the guy that goes and picks up all the baskets, even though he doesn't have to. He's a senior. Usually that's the freshmen and newbies that, have to do that kind of thing. And he's just that guy that just goes and does it. Everybody loves him. He's just a great kid.
It sets an example, no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
Much like Leo Barrera has throughout his career. Now he's headed to Schreiner University in Kerrville to play for the Mountaineers. That's great for this program, isn't it? That
it is.
A fact that you can churn out a player who played college tennis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, Leo, he wasn't sure if he was actually going to be able to go on and play, and he decided he wanted to go to Schreiner and take a visit. He talked to the coach. Coach wants him to come out and walk on. I mean, you can't ask anymore. I mean, this kid is a kid that came in his first year with me and didn't know anything about tennis. He didn't know how to hit topspin. I mean, he didn't really have anybody else in his family that played tennis. His sister came in at the same time who graduated last year. And both of them, were just very raw. And, Leo was a track guy too, and trying to decide if he wanted to do tennis, which was his new sport, or whether he wanted to continue on with the track. And thankfully, he chose the tennis, and he's just grown every year. I mean, and just like I said, turned into a leader for us, and it's just exciting to see a good kid that works hard going to have that opportunity to play in college now.
While Leo and those 2 other seniors depart, you have 15 varsity players returning. That's a remarkable number. Besides Laura and Nick, who has you really excited going forward?
I mean, you could go down the line. I mean, everybody's working hard, but the ones that come to mind, the ones that are taking lessons outside of school, I mean, multiple times a week, they're playing in these USTA tournaments, they're working hard. These guys, they get together, and the girls, they get together just for fun, after school for hours on end, and I'll come up to school and there'll be maybe 10 of my players out there just hitting for fun. I mean, as a coach, that makes you so proud, so across the board, I mean, I'm really proud of them, but the ones that really come to mind, like Garrick Johnson, I mean, just his sister played for me a few years ago. He's working hard. He's outside of school. You've got, obviously, Nick Ashburn. You've got Nick Shaver. Ryan Gaines, who started off the year as JV. I mean, worked his way into a solid spot in the lineup. I mean, he is a solid varsity player. I mean, what's going to happen after he works hard all summer? I mean, that's exciting to see. You have all those guys. Then you have on the girls' side, you have Kiri Chung, who in mixed doubles in the spring, I mean, played with Ryan Gaines, just did a phenomenal job. I mean, they advanced really deep into every tournament we played. I mean, it's exciting to see. I mean, she's a strong player, very athletic. She takes lessons and works hard over the summer and continues to go to these USTA tournaments. You never know what's going to happen with that. You have Devin McGuire coming back as a senior. I mean, I'm just excited to see what happens.
Jennifer, you mentioned the work that these players have to put in this summer. I mean, it can be a year-round sport for those who are dedicated, those who show the commitment. You've brought up the USTA tournaments, the United States Tennis Association. What's the value of that in addition to the lessons outside of school as they prepare for next season?
Well, you can't beat match play. We can simulate it in practice, and they can play against their teammates, or you can even play when they get involved in these lesson-type groups where they play against other people in their lessons. But until it comes down to crunch time, and you're playing those matches against people maybe you don't know, people that play different styles, you haven't seen the way they play, you aren't having somebody watching over your shoulder, I mean, you cannot beat that type of experience. And just going out and playing those matches one after the next, playing maybe 4 matches in a day, and just having to really develop your plan on the court. Just, you can't beat that. You can't simulate it in practice at all. And so it's so valuable for these kids, in addition to practice with school, lessons outside of school, to take all that stuff that they learn and then take it to the matches in the USTA tournaments, and they grow. I mean, it's amazing, just one tournament. A kid can go away to a tournament on the weekend, come back the next week, and you can see the growth just from going to a tournament. It's just getting away, seeing that new atmosphere, applying their skills. I mean, you can't duplicate it.
And I'm sure you'll be looking for that growth to apply itself next year as McKinney moves up to Class 5A. You could say moving back. You were here when the Lions were in Class 5A many years ago. I get the sense that you're looking forward to that challenge.
I am, because, whenever I first came in here, I wasn't, it's not really a daunting task. I mean, you come in and, you have these kids, you're going to play against the best. It's really no different. There's only a little bit of difference between the 4A and 5A when you actually look at it, because, with 4A, we would play, some really tough matches. I mean, great players in 4A, just like in 5A. But we play some really tough matches in 4A, and then maybe your next week you might have a really easy match. And then the week after you play another tough match, and another easy match the next week. It's not going to be like that in 5A. We're going to be playing those tough matches week in and week out. These kids are playing against the top players. And, like I was telling you before, it's not that, you still have the same mountain to climb. It's just a steeper climb. We've got to be ready day in and day out. There's not going to be that down week where we can just kind of go out there and just kind of go through the motions. You've got to prepare and be ready for hard matches every week.
Jennifer, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on this season and best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jennifer Dixon, head coach of the McKinney Lions. They can't wait for what the future holds.